Kauaʻi, the northernmost of the main Hawaiian Islands in the United States, is often introduced as the Garden Isle, but that nickname can feel almost too gentle for a place built from volcanoes and carved by some of the wettest weather on Earth. Here, the landscape tells its story in bold relief. A single ancient shield volcano collapsed, eroded, and fractured into amphitheaters, razorback ridges, and sea cliffs so steep they seem to rise straight out of the Pacific. Nowhere is that story more dramatic than along the Nā Pali Coast, a 17-mile stretch of Kauai's northwest shoreline where green cathedral walls plunge into blue water, and where access is still governed by geography rather than convenience. To understand Nā Pali, it helps to start with time. Kauaʻi is the oldest of the major Hawaiian Islands, formed roughly 5 million years ago as the Pacific Plate drifted over the Hawaiian hotspot. Unlike Hawaii Island to the southeast, where Kilauea and Mauna Loa continue to build new land, Kauaʻi's volcanism is long quiet. Its main volcano, commonly referred to as the Waiʻaleʻale volcano complex, has been dismantled by erosion for millions of years. This long exposure to rain, streams, and landslides is why Kauaʻi looks so deeply sculpted. The Nā Pali cliffs are not simply big cliffs, they are the exposed ribs of an ancient volcano, cut by countless valleys and gashes. In Hawaiian, Nā Pali means the cliffs, an understatement that makes sense when a feature is so central it needs no embellishment. The coastline's famous look comes from a combination of basalt bedrock, relentless rainfall, and gravity. Basalt, the dark volcanic rock that formed from fluid lava flows, stacks in layers like pages in a book. Over time, water exploits cracks and weaknesses, cutting narrow valleys that widen into amphitheaters. Landslides peel away entire sections of cliff, leaving the knife-edge ridges and fluted faces that photographers love. The result is a shoreline that feels both monumental and intricate. Broad green walls, ribbed with vertical grooves, interrupted by hanging valleys and waterfalls that appear after rain like sudden white threads. Rain is a key character on Kauaʻi, especially in the island's interior. Mount Waiʻaleʻale is often cited among the wettest spots on Earth, and while exact rankings vary by dataset and year, the basic fact is solid. This is a place where moist trade winds rise, cool, and drop enormous amounts of water. That rainfall feeds streams that run year-round, driving erosion and sustaining lush vegetation. It also means visitors should treat weather forecasts as guidance, not guarantees. A sunny beach morning can coexist with a soaked mountain afternoon, and flash flooding can occur in valleys even when the coast looks calm. Nā Pali's human history is as layered as its geology. Long before the arrival of Europeans, native Hawaiians established communities in these valleys, farming taro in irrigated terraces and fishing the rich nearshore waters. The coast's isolation helped preserve a way of life centered on ahupua'a, a traditional land division that runs from mountain to sea and ties upland resources to coastal fisheries. Place names along Nā Pali are not decorative labels, they are compressed histories. Kalalau, for example, refers to a valley whose broad floor and stream once supported substantial cultivation. Even today, when you stand on a lookout and see the valley opening toward the sea, it's worth remembering that this was not wilderness in the modern sense. It was home, engineered and maintained through knowledge of water, soil, and seasons. European contact in Hawaii began in 1778 with Captain James Cook's arrival in the archipelago. In the decades that followed, epidemics, shifting power dynamics, and economic change reshaped island life. Kauai's own political history includes periods of relative autonomy under leaders such as Kauaʻi in the early 19th century, before integration into the unified Kingdom of Hawaii. Later came the transformations of plantation agriculture, especially sugar, which altered land use, labor, and demographics across the islands, including Kauaʻi. Today, the island's economy leans heavily on tourism, and Nā Pali sits at the center of a delicate balance. A globally famous landscape that is also a culturally significant place and a fragile ecological system. For a visitor, Nā Pali is best approached as a set of experiences rather than a single attraction. The most accessible views come from Kauaʻi State Park and Waimea Canyon State Park on the west side of Kauaʻi. Waimea Canyon is often compared to the Grand Canyon, but its origin is distinct. It is a volcanic canyon, carved by water and shaped by the collapse and erosion of the island's interior. From lookouts like Puʻuhinahina and Kalalau Lookout, the island opens into a vast red and green chasm, and on clear days you can see the Nā Pali cliffs in the distance, the ridges stacked like waves. The Kalalau Lookout, in particular, offers an iconic view into Kalalau Valley. Early morning often brings clearer air. Afternoon, clouds can roll in quickly, turning the valley into a shifting theater of light and mist. The most immersive way to meet Nā Pali is by trail, especially the Kalalau Trail, which begins at Ke'e Beach at the end of the road on the north shore. This is not a casual walk disguised as a hike. The trail traverses steep slopes, narrow ledges, and stream crossings, with sections that can become dangerous or impassable after heavy rain. The first 2 miles to Hanakapi'ai Beach are popular, but even that short portion demands respect. Strong currents and unexpected waves make swimming hazardous, and rescues are not rare. Beyond Hanakapi'ai, the trail continues through valleys and along high traverses toward Kalalau Beach, a destination that requires permits and careful planning. For experienced hikers, it can be a life-defining journey, towering cliffs above, the ocean below, and a sense of moving through a landscape that refuses to be simplified. Waterfalls add another dimension. From the Hanakapi'ai Trail, many hikers continue inland to Hanakapi'ai Falls, a tall cascade tucked into a lush amphitheater. The route is muddy and involves stream crossings, which can rise rapidly with rainfall. The best safety advice on Kauaʻi is also the simplest. If water is high, turn around. The island's beauty is inseparable from its power, and the line between adventure and emergency can be thin. If hiking is not your route, the coast can be experienced by sea and air. Boat tours from the South Shore, often departing near Port Allen, trace the cliffs from below, revealing sea caves, arches, and the scale of the ridges. In summer, when ocean conditions are typically calmer on the north and west sides, snorkeling can be excellent in certain coves, though conditions vary daily. In winter, the North Shore's surf can be extreme. Boat tours may shift to the south or be canceled. Helicopter tours, while expensive, offer a view into the island's inaccessible interior, fluted ridges, hidden waterfalls, and the full sweep of valleys that cannot be seen from roads. For those who choose this option, it's worth seeking operators that emphasize safety and environmental responsibility, and choosing flight times when weather is more stable. Nā Pali's ecology is as remarkable as its scenery. Kauaʻi hosts many endemic plants and birds found nowhere else, shaped by isolation and varied microclimates. In the high forests, native species such as ohia lahua and koa form habitats for rare birds, though many native bird populations have declined due to habitat loss and introduced predators and diseases. Along the coast, seabirds nest on cliffs and offshore islets. Visitors can help by cleaning footwear to avoid spreading invasive seeds, staying on established trails to prevent erosion, and respecting closures designed to protect habitats and reduce landslide risk. Cultural respect matters here, not as a slogan, but as a practical way of traveling well. Many sites in Hawaii are tied to mo'olelo, traditional stories, and to ongoing cultural practices. Learning a few place names and pronouncing them with care is a small gesture that signals attention. Understanding that aina means more than land, it carries the sense of that which feeds, helps frame why stewardship is so central. When you pack out trash, avoid trampling vegetation, and follow permit rules, you're not just obeying regulations. You're participating, however briefly, in a relationship with place that long predates modern tourism. A few travel tips make the experience smoother and safer. First, plan around weather and season. Summer generally brings calmer seas on the Nā Pali side, while winter brings larger surf and more frequent storms. Second, start early for viewpoints and hikes. Parking and crowds build quickly, and morning light often reveals the sharpest detail on the cliffs. Third, bring more water than you think you need. Wear footwear that can handle mud and slick rock, and treat stream crossings with caution. Fourth, if you intend to hike beyond the initial sections of the Kauaʻi Trail, secure permits well in advance and be honest about your fitness and experience. Kauai's trails can be unforgiving, especially when conditions turn wet. Finally, allow Nā Pali to be more than a checklist. It is a coastline shaped by ancient fire and persistent water, a place where geology is visible at human scale and where human history is written into valleys and names. The cliffs are famous, but their fame is only the outer layer. Look longer, and you begin to notice the way ridges funnel clouds, the way waterfalls appear and vanish, the way the sea changes color over submerged rock shelves, and the way a single island can hold both the memory of a volcano and the ongoing work of rain. Kauai offers many beautiful places, but Nā Pali has a particular gravity. It makes the island's age, its cultural depth, and its living ecosystems feel immediate, and it leaves many visitors with a sharpened sense of how extraordinary a coastline can be when it is allowed to remain, in important ways, untamed.